Ukrainian troops continued to use javelins or other anti-tank missiles to destroy Russian tanks. There have been many epic scenes of Russian tanks having their turrets thrown into the sky, and Russian armored vehicles being torn to shreds into scrap metal. But it soon became clear that javelin missiles were not the best way to destroy tanks, and that there were far better and cheaper methods of effective use for the Ukrainian military today. We can see that small kamikaze drones equipped with grenades pose a much greater threat to Russian tanks and armored vehicles. We'll show you a concrete example of how Ukrainian troops actually changed the perception of modern warfare during the counteroffensive. We know the Ukrainian army is starting to experience a severe shortage of Javelin anti-tank missiles, but the lightweight first-person view FPV drones can completely replace the role of Javelin anti-tank missiles. Previous operations of FPV drones to destroy tanks had to be within line of sight when finding targets, meaning operators had to see them with their own eyes. In contrast, the Javelin has a special direct guidance optical system when sighting enemy tanks, with the operator able to press the launch button and the missile flying directly toward the target. Now a tank can be detected using a small drone with a bomb payload, even if the tank remains in cover. The tank is far from the drone operator, and not within the line of sight, but the drone can maneuver behind trees, hills, or between urban buildings and streets. With the help of the drone, the operator can see the tank while still taking cover using the special glasses on the joystick. Direct the drone directly at the tank, and damage it with grenades attached to the drone, causing significant damage to the Russian tank or armored vehicle. Ukrainian FPV drones were able to target the tank's vulnerable spots, such as its fuel tanks. Then here we see it with Russian tank crews abandoning their armored vehicles and running away. As a result, abandoned tanks are destroyed using other drones, for these are called drone bombers carrying multiple grenades of different types of bombs. The drone releases one or more grenades into the hatch of the tank's turret, eventually destroying the tank. The Russian army lost over 2 companies of soldiers killed and wounded in the Zaphorizhia direction. Currently, the Ukrainian defense forces are systematically defeating the enemy and recording certain successes, especially in liberating the Donetsk region and gaining a foothold on the border. Over the past few days, the Russians lost over 2 companies killed and wounded, as well as 19 units of enemy military equipment, including 2 tanks and several armored fighting vehicles, D-20 howitzers, UAV Azala, UAV Eleanor, and UAV A-2836, the Giant on the B howitzer. In addition, 8 enemy ammunition depots were also destroyed. The enemy has attacked Ukrainian positions in the Zaphorizhia direction 17 times, while Ukrainian artillery units carried out 1,510 shelling missions. With the help of coordinating drones, Ukrainian fighters managed to engage Russian troop positions inside their trenches using 155mm artillery rounds. Although the Russian tanks appeared immobilized and possibly inoperable due to the previous Ukrainian attack, the Russian troops did not appear to have evacuated. They seem determined to stay afloat even though their situation is dire and their chances of survival are almost zero. The video documenting this situation was published by the K2 Ukraine unit via a Telegram channel link. Ukrainian forces have begun advancing and regaining control of other settlements in southern Ukraine. The Russian troops launched a counterattack to halt the advance of the Ukrainian infantry, but were routed and part of their tank destroyed by anti-tank missiles and grenades. While Ukrainian troops used drones to blow up part of the Russian armored personnel carrier, and Russian troops fleeing the battlefield, this video shows at least some of the Russian armored personnel carriers being destroyed. Ukrainian troops, having made advances at several locations, penetrated more than 5 kilometers into the Russian lines. Ukrainian armored vehicles and personnel carriers moved towards the Russian defenses, and fell into anti-tank ditches which posed an obstacle to the Ukrainian forces. This anti-tank indicated that Ukrainian troops had approached the main line of Russian defense after overcoming the minefield. It is interesting to note that the Ukrainian armored personnel carrier did not meet any resistance from the Russians here except for the deep trench. The Ukrainian counterattack was successful on 3 fronts. Ukrainian troops have counterattacked in at least 3 areas of the front line and achieved success in these areas. Notably, Ukrainian troops managed to gain an advantage in the southwest region of Bakhmut. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Ukrainian troops continued their offensive operations to the north and south of Bakhmut, and managed to force the Russian troops to retreat 11 kilometers from positions northeast of Orikhovo-Vasilivka. In addition, the General Staff of Ukraine in the northwestern region also reported that Ukrainian forces continued to carry out offensive operations in the Zap region TSK and Arblast regions, which are adjacent to the border region, as well as heading toward the Zaphorizhia Arblast in the western region. The spokeswoman for the main Ukrainian force group, Major Valery, stated that Ukrainian troops had managed to advance more than 1 kilometer in an unspecified direction, but were heading towards Melitopol. The Institute for International Strategic Studies recorded an analysis by one of the Russian military commanders, who stated that Russian forces experienced a shortage of troop rotation and reinforcements on the Zaphorizhia front and south of Bakhmut, making it difficult for them to reclaim positions they had lost. Any delay in resolving the issue of rotation and reinforcements in the southern Bakhmut region could have serious consequences for the occupying Russian group.